So over the weekend, Richemont Group decided to release a ton of new watches as part of their online version of Watches and Wonders. We got new releases from Vacheron, Panerai, Cartier, Montblanc, and a ton of other brands, and they were all really, really good. So I decided to give my buddy Rita from Watch Society a call to see what his first impressions are and to have a little bit of a discussion over what we thought of the new models and what we want to see in the future from these brands. Now, I will warn you, this is a long conversation, so in the description below, you can see links so you can skip forward if there's a particular watch that you're interested in hearing about so you can navigate around, because we talked for about an hour, and that's before I chopped it down a little bit as well to make it a bit more concise. But I hope you enjoy this little snippet of quarantine content, and I hope you're staying safe. Yo, what's up, man? Belated Ramadan, man. How's everything going over there?
Yeah, thank you so much, man. It's the second day into Ramadan. There's no problem with the fasting in terms of water and food, but the coffee in the morning, man, that's just, I didn't realize that I'm a coffee addict till like Ramadan. I just woke up and I feel like someone just hit me with a baseball bat. Like, I'm like, yo, I don't know what I'm chasing today. How's lockdown?
Oh man, I feel like every day is just the same day. But except that, at least now there's a few more watches to take a look at, with all these new Richemont releases.
One that caught my eye, like with no shadow of a doubt, it's a watch that I can't say I've been contemplating one, but I've been reading a lot more about it, is obviously the Vacheron Constantin. So
overseas.
Yeah, the overseas. This one, the new one they came up with, so there was an ultra thin back in the days. But the one thing that I really, really, truly appreciate is the fact that they've showcased the movement. So there's open case back. It's also skeletonized on the front, so you can see that, and it's ultra thin. This is a grand complication. And when you look at like all of the details, how much components that they had to remove, while it's maintaining obviously the same quality. On a skeletonized case, they just gave us something more to look at. The only downside is, as you know, I don't really wear like yellow gold or pink gold. So unfortunately, and I could be absolutely wrong about this, maybe something that Vacheron would do later on. But for now, it's only in pink gold. And I think it's also a very limited piece.
Yeah, so I saw an interview with, I think it was the CEO of Vacheron. And they were talking about one of the reasons why they do it in that is because that movement is so labor intensive and so difficult. They can only make so many of them, which means they can only sell so many of them, which means that in a way it's kind of to be able to offer enough value to the consumer who buys it, they have to sell it in gold so they can still make enough to make it like economically viable. Like, I guess they don't want to charge exactly the same as what they're charging now and give you just steel.
That's definitely a possibility. And I see why they're keeping this grand complication sort of limited to precious metals. So I can completely appreciate that. Honestly speaking, I've not seen it in person, not yet, at least. I don't know when it will hit stores here in Dubai or if it's going to be another limited sort of impossible to see piece. But generally, I always thought that they nailed the case size, even from the 2016 model. The bracelet is something that they've given us the options that people want. So you get the leather, you get the rubber, and then you get that precious metal. This one would be in pink gold. And again, they're maintaining, it's truly ultra thin, right?
And then on top of that, they skeletonize it. You think I wonder how many movements they break or they screw up, or like what the failure or rejection rate is from when they have to make it so thin and then they have to take out more material. It's like, how do you maintain that structural rigidity, that structural integrity? Yeah. It's really, really an amazing feat of engineering.
Vacheron, man. They absolutely nailed it. I think it's literally neck to neck with Patek, if not a little bit over, in my opinion.
In terms of history and quality, Patek and AP get a lot of the hype, but at the end of the day, Vacheron is equal quality, if not better in some cases. It varies model per model. But Vacheron never gets that much hype. It's starting now. Like when I was in Dubai, I was speaking to the manager there at the Vacheron boutique in one of the malls, And he was telling me that, now they're starting to have wait lists on some of the steel overseas. The blue one, he said they have like 6-month wait lists, which like, yeah, you compare that to a Daytona or a Nautilus or a Royal Oak, 6 months sounds like nothing. But it's like they're getting there. They're getting to that point. It may have been a slow start, but they're getting there. And one of the reasons why is that the Vacheron offers, especially in the overseas range, so much value. There's so much technology in terms of the anti-magnetism, in terms of the quick switching bracelet system. They give you all the straps in one go. There's so much going on, and the movements are absolutely stunning. They came out with a new Pasha.
That's yours. It has your name written all over it.
I was worried when I found out it was coming out because I was thinking like,
oh really?
I want it to do well. I want it to be cool because I like, for the love of watch, I don't want them to put out a shitty watch. But I like it more than my one. I got exactly what I asked for. I think the new Pasha is great. It's really cool. I like how they went way back right to the original design that Gerald Genta did from the 80s. They did smooth bezel. It looks a lot more simplistic.
Yeah.
But I still like mine more.
Let me ask you this question. I mean, the Cartier Pasha, of course, when I saw that, I immediately thought of you. Like, I remember when you were in Dubai and we did the review on your piece. That was really interesting. Yeah. But I wanted to ask, did yours also have a quick switch bracelet change?
It has these little screws. Mine is like 12 years old. When I first changed the bracelet to put on the leather strap, the screws were really stubborn. Like they wouldn't unscrew. But the quick switch is something new. Like they first started doing it on the Cartier Roadster in the 2000s. Then they sort of took a break from it. Then the Santos came out 2 years ago with the quick switch. And now I think that's sort of where they're taking things in the future. Right. Which I think is cool. I think it's great. Like the new one has a lot of the refinements that I would love. I wish mine had. But design-wise, I like the way mine looks more.
It's a signature one, I could tell you that. And the other thing also I caught is that it's actually, they showcase the movement, right?
And still has 100-meter water resistance, which is insane. But they're great improvements. Also, like this new one is a bit thinner. I think it comes in at sub 10 millimeters. That's something I think Cartier has been doing really good. Do you remember when I was in Dubai and we went to the store and I tried on that Khalid de Cartier diver? That was 300-meter water resistance, and I think it was 12.1 millimeters or something like that. It was like thinner than a Submariner and had the same water resistance.
That's really good. That's definitely 100% there. So if you look at IWC, for example, one of the ones I'm not honestly a big fan, mainly because of their case sizes. Their Portugieser was a 45 case size. But looking at the new one they've just launched, they gave people more options.
That one looked good. That one on a bracelet as well. I think it's the first time in a very long time that they offer the Portugieser on a bracelet. And it looks a bit sportier. I like it. My only thing is they call it the Yacht Club. It has 60 meters of water resistance.
It looks subtle and the bracelet on it as well looks very interesting. But again, I can't judge by the pictures. Quote me for this if I'm wrong, but from what I'm reading, I think the price point for it is just over maybe $11,000, 11,000 euros, something like that.
Which is a fair change, but also it's an in-house flyback chronograph. It does look pretty cool.
For the price point, for the 11,000, I understand it's reasonable. I just hope they're not giving us a copy of the Patek bracelet. It looks Patek-ish to me with the center polish link. We've seen it with John Ross, but I can't judge it, right?
It'll still stand on its own, and let's face it, this is bigger and rounder than any sort of Patek on offer. So at least it has that, at least the case doesn't really look like it. So I think it's cool. I think it's a cool addition. I'd like to see it in person. Like the Portugieser collection has never really done much for me. Like when it comes to IWC, if I wanted something sporty, I prefer the Pilot's watches. And if I wanted something dressier, I think the Da Vinci is much cooler. I think it's a lot more distinctive. For me, the Portugieser has always been just kind of in between.
Do you think that's the best price point at that price point? Would this the best chronograph you would pick? Yeah.
I guess it depends how you look. If you really want to be strict and say, like sort of a yachting themed one, it's like, well, then what else is it competing with? Maybe the Yachtmaster 2, which in my mind looks butt ugly. So between those two, I'd take the IWC. But if we're talking in general, just sort of luxury chronographs, I'd much rather that Breitling for Bentley Premier, the one that I just put the video up for. That I think is amazing.
Absolutely. Agree. That was a good video, by the way. Yeah, that was very nice, actually. Yeah. That just brings me again to check with you if you've actually seen the variations of the Panerai new Panerai, the Luminor trilogy. Man, the looms on these things, and these guys nail taking pictures of their watches. Honestly, like you see a picture of a Panerai, you leave the case size, you leave whether this is thick or not. You just want to jump in and check it out. And,
like those are watches that are easy to take good pictures of, or that look nice when you take pictures.
They're in titanium now. Is that their first editions in titanium? Because
Panerai has been doing really well when it comes to experimenting with different materials. They've been doing titanium for a while. I did a review of a steel and titanium two-tone, which was sick, and that was from the mid to early 2000s.
Right.
Yeah. So with this one, they got 3 different materials. One is titanium that's made with. It's some weird, bizarre acronym. 1 second. DMLS, which is direct metal laser sintering, which is sort of like a 3D printing technology for metal, which it's like, I love how they just, we could just make it out of titanium normal, but
create like an expression out of a process.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but we'll just reinvent how we do it just for the fun. Then they got Carbotech, which is kind of like carbon fiber, which they've been making for a while as well. And then they've got this other thing called Fibertech, which is new for them, which is based on mineral basalt fibers bound together with polymers. It's described by Panerai as 60% lighter than steel and highly resistant to corrosion. I just love it. It's like they're just making new materials just because. They don't bother making a new collection. They have 2 collections, the Luminor and the Radomir. They're just going to reinvent the wheel on how the materials are made, which I think is great. I think it's a really cool approach, and the loom is insane on these. It looks like you ever see that movie Tron, where they have like the bikes that are all lit up? This looks like a Tron watch.
Yeah, and, you get loom around this crew as well.
You got loom around the crown.
I think even the bracelet.
The thread in the strap is loomed as well.
Fluorescent. What is that? Is that really a loom or?
Yeah, it's luminous. But also what's insane is, so these 3 editions they released, they're celebrating 70 years of them switching to, at that point it was tritium based loom versus the radioactive radium that named the Radomir. And so because they're celebrating 70 years of that, they're offering on these limited editions 70-year warranty.
Boutique limited edition, I was going to say.
Yeah, boutique limited edition, 270 pieces of each of these 3 different materials and 70 years warranty. That is confidence.
That's proper. I mean, I don't know how people would feel. I mean, that was the thing for me and the Luminor collection specifically. When I looked at their radio mirror, one thing is that somehow the leather, I mean, in the manual winding version, the leather actually integrates with the case. And I would quite like that. But on the Luminors, on the other hand, I mean, it's definitely something. I just don't think it's for everyone. And price and availability, if you can give us some snippets. I mean, what are the, I guess, I mean, when you say they're boutique exclusive, in my mind, that's already 20-30% on top of what a Luminor would cost you, especially that they're made in titanium, these. So they're not in like
price ranges. Weirdly, the titanium isn't the cheapest one. The cheapest one is the Carbotech. I guess they spent on reinventing the wheel on how to machine the titanium.
Sorry, the Carbotech is actually the old black one, or out of the pictures we're looking at?
The Carbotech, I believe that is the all black one. You'll see it's got this really cool sort of texture to it, though. It's not like a flat surface. It's really, really weird, but very cool. Carbotech is 16,000 euros, if I'm not mistaken. And then the other 2, the Fibertech and the titanium DMLS, is 19,000 euros. So pretty pricey. But all of these are supposed to be very scratch resistant, so at least they'll look decently new. And they're all very light, which I think that's also pretty cool as well. Considering how big these watches are, it's good that they're making an effort to make them light.
Look, I mean, with no shadow of a doubt, it's unique. Of course, it's a watch that has a very, very rich history. But at the end of the day, the case size for me, man, like I'm not gonna rock up to Panerai excited. I mean, I would want to see them, especially the Carbotech and the titanium one, the DMLS direct metal laser. I want to kind of go educate myself and hold it in hand and play around with them. But would I buy one? I don't think so, man. I mean, the radio mirror is an exception because again, like the 42K size is okay. It's something you
it's
can.
funny how like polarizing it is, because for example, me, I'm the exact opposite. For me, it's like I like the Luminor more than the Retimer. Like they're both good looking watches, and I've tried them both on, but I like the look of the Luminor more. I think maybe it's because it's designed as a big watch. I feel it makes more sense. And also it doesn't hurt that it's available on bracelet. Like on when these are on bracelets, like these particular special editions are only available with a strap, but there are some Luminors that are available on bracelets, and that also changes the vibe. It makes a lot more sense visually for me. Did you see they released the Lange Sohne and Odysseus on a rubber strap as well, but they put it in white gold only.
I'm looking forward to seeing this watch. Honestly, on pictures, it looks really. You know me, I like to play around with my watches on my Explorer. For example, I've ordered a couple of rubber bees, rubber straps, basically. So I'm a big fan of the combination of whether it be steel and titanium and rubber. I was fishing around Zenith in the past. But this one looks really, really interesting. The price point, I mean, I don't really want to talk about the price point, but is that for the rubber variation, the 40,000 euros, or is that for the...
No, that's for the rubber one. The all steel on bracelet is, I think, around 30, if I'm not mistaken. Price to compete with the Nautilus and AP. But yeah, 40,000 euros for the white gold on rubber, which makes you think if they offered a full white gold bracelet, that would be what? Like at least 60, if not 70,000.
That's crazy.
But you know, I kind of like the idea, and also you think that by making that exclusively for the gold ones, similar to what Rolex does with its Oyster Flex, they don't offer an Oyster Flex on any of their steel models. It's all on precious metal. It kind of gives you an option that, like, all right, you can still have that vibe without you having to pay for an insane amount just for extra bracelet. Because you think on something like a full gold Rolex, a ton of that money is just in the bracelet itself. It's an interesting scenario, and also a good way for them to differentiate it. I'd be interested to see it in person, because if I'm honest, when I first saw the pictures of the Odysseus, I thought, But then when I was in Dubai, I actually went to the Lange boutique, and they had one that was getting ready for delivery to a customer. So it was all wrapped in plastic in the delivery box and like the nice big Lange box. But so I walked in and I was like, oh, hey, do you have an Odysseus? They're like, listen, we don't have one that's available for sale, but we can show you one that's about to be delivered to a customer if you want to just see it. I said, yeah, sure, it'd be great. Because I was just curious to what it looked like in person, because I wasn't impressed by the pictures. In person, this watch looks so much better. Like, everything just makes sense. So I've come to the conclusion it's just not a very photogenic watch.
Do you think the white gold is going to be a limited edition? I mean, that wasn't really clear to me from what I was
They're limited in how many they can make, because it takes so much effort to make their movements. Like all of their movements, they assemble them once, then take it all apart and assemble it again to make sure it's done right. So that obviously adds a lot of time. It reduces how many they can make over a certain period of time.
If you were to pick from all the watches we talked about today, the Vacheron, the IWC, Portugieser, the Cartier Santos, I mean, actually keep the Pasha out because I know how you feel about this watch. What would be that one pick? What is the one that is aesthetically pleasing to you, plus all of the specs and kind of like the design element that had gone there? For me, it would definitely be the Vacheron Ultra Thin in pink gold. I think that's the winner among all the three brands. When I look at Cartier, IWC, and Lange, I think it would be the Vacheron for me.
It's tough. Because like, for example, with the Lange, I prefer the steel one because I like the blue dial more, and I actually like the bracelet, especially having seen it. But I do think it looks nice on that rubber strap. And whereas the Vacheron, like the overseas for me is a grail, but not the Perpetual calendar. I like the steel dual time. So it's like, these are all variations on watches I like. And the same thing with the Pasha. It's a cool watch, but I like my version of it more. It's difficult, man. Weirdly, and this is totally uncharacteristic for me because in general, IWC doesn't drive me crazy. I would actually look seriously at that at the Portuguese Yacht Club on the bracelet. I think for some reason that looks cool to me. I don't know why. I can think of a million reasons in my head why I'd rather something else, but it sings out to me. I think it looks cool.
Would there be any other releases coming up, I think, over the coming 2 weeks or so?
I think over the next few days, Ulysse Nardin and Gerard Perregaux coming out. There's a few other brands, a few other independents are also going to be releasing. But also, like, I think with a lot of these brands, they've already realized that they don't have to be attached to releasing just at one period. So I think throughout the year, we're going to be seeing more. Obviously, Omega released a few at the beginning of the year, but they haven't done much. The rest of Swatch Group, I don't think, has done any major releases either. So I think that's probably the next big wave. Whether they'll do it all in one go or whether they'll do it brand by brand over the course of the year remains to be seen. But I think that's the next big thing, is seeing what the new releases are from the Swatch Group.
Yeah, I guess we're going to have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like, Fred, so thanks a lot for organizing this. Excellent.
Likewise, man. My pleasure. Take care. Stay safe.
Peace. Likewise, bro.
Talk to you next time, man.